Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Mio, and I am so happy you are here with us today.
And I'm Ethan. It is so great to have you joining us. Today's episode is a little different because it's actually pretty personal for both of us.
That's right. So, Ethan and I are both going through some big life changes right now. New places, new routines, new everything. And honestly, I don't know about you, Ethan, but I've been feeling pretty overwhelmed lately.
Oh, completely. And I think that feeling is actually very normal when you start a new chapter in your life. It's exciting, but it's also a lot to handle. So Mio and I thought, let's just talk about it. Honestly, like two friends having a real conversation.
Exactly. And if you're an English learner, this is also a wonderful chance to hear some natural, everyday conversation. We're going to keep things simple and clear today so you can follow along easily. So let's just get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Ethan, can I just be honest with you for a second? Because lately I feel like there are just so many things I need to take care of in my new life. Like, I tried to make a mental list in my head, and it just keeps growing and growing. New things keep appearing on it, and I'm starting to panic a little bit. Like, where do I even begin?
Oh, I totally understand that feeling. The mental list. It just gets bigger and bigger in your head, right? And the more you think about it, the more overwhelming it feels.
Yes, exactly. And then you can't sleep at night because you're lying there thinking about all of the things you haven't done yet. It's like your brain just won't turn off.
I know exactly what you mean. Okay, so, and this is something that really helped me. The very first thing I would suggest is write everything down. Just get it all out of your head. Write it down.
Oh, like a to-do list?
Yeah, kind of like a to-do list. But here's the really important part. I mean, write it on actual paper, not on your phone, not in a memo app, not in a digital document on your computer. I mean real paper, with a real pen or pencil, old-fashioned handwriting.
Really? Why paper specifically? I mean, isn't it easier to just type it on your phone?
You would think so, right? But there's actually something very special about writing by hand. When you physically write something down on paper, your brain processes it differently. It becomes more real, more concrete. It's not just this foggy, floating thing in your head anymore. It's right there in front of you. You can see it. You can look at it. And that alone can make you feel calmer.
Hmm. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like getting it out of your head and onto the page.
Exactly. And your phone. It's full of distractions, right? You open your Notes app, and then you get a notification, and suddenly you're scrolling social media, and you've completely forgotten what you were doing. Paper doesn't do that. Paper just stays there, waiting for you.
That is so true. Okay, so I write everything down on paper. Then what?
Then, once you have your list, you go through each item one by one. And for each thing on the list, you try to write down some possible ways to handle it. Like, what are your options? What could you actually do about this specific thing? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just brainstorm a little.
Okay, so write down possible solutions next to each item.
Yes. And while you're doing that, start sorting. Some things on your list will feel easy. You know what to do. It's not complicated. You just need to actually do it. And other things will feel harder, more complicated, maybe a bit scary. It really helps to separate them into those two groups.
Right. So easy things and harder things.
Exactly. Because once you can see them as two separate groups, the whole situation becomes much less scary. You look at the easy pile and you think, okay, I can actually do these. These are manageable. And you start there. You do the easy things first. And that gives you momentum. It gives you a sense of, I'm moving forward. I'm getting things done.
Oh, I love that. Start with the easy ones to build up your confidence before tackling the harder stuff.
Exactly right. And by the way, don't be shy about writing personal things on your list too. Like, for example, things related to your health. If you have some kind of health concern, or if there's something about your body or how you're feeling that you're not sure about, write it down. Don't leave it just floating around in your head.
Oh, health stuff too? Yeah, I guess I do tend to push those things aside and try not to think about them.
Right? A lot of people do. But that's actually one of the worst things you can do. Your health is one of the most important things in your life. If something is on your mind, write it down, acknowledge it. That's the first step to actually doing something about it.
Out of sight, out of mind, and that's not always a good thing.
Exactly. Now, for the things on your list that you don't understand, or things you need more information about, one good option is to search online. The internet has an enormous amount of information, and it can be a really useful starting point.
Yeah, I do that a lot, actually. When I don't understand something, I just Google it first.
Me too. But, and this is really important, you have to be careful when it comes to health topics, especially serious ones. If you start searching online for symptoms of serious diseases or serious medical conditions,
Oh no, yeah, you go down a rabbit hole and suddenly you're convinced you're dying.
ha! Yes, exactly. You start reading and one article leads to another, and suddenly you are absolutely convinced you have 5 different serious diseases, and you've caused yourself enormous amounts of unnecessary stress and worry. For serious health concerns, please, do not rely on internet searches alone. It can make things so much worse.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. So, what should you do instead?
The number one thing always is to see a doctor. That is the most important recommendation I can make. A real medical professional who can actually examine you, ask you the right questions, and give you proper advice based on your specific situation. There is no substitute for that.
Yes, of course. See a doctor. That's always the right move.
Right. But here's something I find really helpful. Even before you go to the doctor, read a book about the topic, a general health book, or a book specifically about whatever you're concerned about. Books give you solid, well-organized background knowledge. They help you understand the basics so that when you do see the doctor, you can have a better, more informed conversation.
A book. Not just a quick Google search, but an actual book.
Right. And here's the thing about internet searches. They can be very narrow. You type in one keyword, you get results for that one specific thing. But the information can be scattered, incomplete, or just plain inaccurate sometimes. A book, on the other hand, gives you the bigger picture. It covers related topics, explains the context, builds up your understanding step by step. It's just much more complete.
That's actually a really good point. I never thought about it that way before, the internet being too narrow.
It's one of those things you don't notice until someone points it out. So what I recommend is go to a bookstore, spend some time there, browse the section that's related to what you need to learn about. Pick up a few different books, look through them, read a little bit, and find one that feels clear and easy to understand. Then buy it and read it properly, from beginning to end.
Okay, yeah. I actually really enjoy bookstores. I just don't go often enough.
It's such a good habit to build. And if buying books feels expensive, which honestly books can add up, check if there's a public library near you. Libraries are incredible. You can borrow books completely for free, spend time there in a quiet environment, do your research, and really focus. It's one of the most underrated resources out there.
Oh, I love libraries. That is such a good idea. Especially when you're new somewhere, finding a library near you can be a really great thing to do.
Absolutely. And actually, finding your local library, that could be one of the things on your paper list. Things like find a doctor in my area, find the nearest library, set up my utilities, figure out public transportation. All of those practical, real-life tasks, write them all down.
Oh, that's a great point. Because there really are so many of those small, practical things when you're new somewhere. Like things that people who have lived there a long time take for granted, but you have to figure all of them out from scratch.
Exactly. And it can feel like there are hundreds of them. But that's why the list is so powerful, because once you write them all down, you realize it's actually a finite number. It's not infinite. It's not endless. It's 30 things or 40 things, and you can work through them one by one.
Right. Seeing it all written down makes it feel more manageable somehow, less like this huge, scary cloud hanging over you.
That's a perfect way to describe it. A huge, scary cloud. And writing it down helps disperse that cloud. It brings everything into focus. So, to bring it all back to basics, the very first step if you're feeling overwhelmed is simply this. Make a paper list. Write down everything that's on your mind, everything you need to do, everything you're worried about, everything you're unsure about. That is your starting point. Everything else comes after that.
Yeah, just get it all out of your head and onto paper. I feel calmer just thinking about doing that.
That's the goal. And you know, the simple act of starting, of just sitting down and picking up a pen. That's often the hardest part. But once you start writing, it feels so much better.
This actually reminds me of something. Since moving to my new place, I've been getting a lot of advice from people around me, like neighbors, coworkers, people I've just recently met. And they've all been so helpful. They give me tips, they suggest things, they share what worked for them.
Oh, that's so nice. People can be so generous when someone is new.
They really can. But the problem is, sometimes I hear the advice, I think, oh, that's really helpful, I should remember that. And then 2 or 3 days later, it's completely gone. I've forgotten it. And I feel bad because they took the time to share it with me.
Yeah, that happens so easily.
Right, but now I'm thinking I should write all of that advice down on my paper list too. When someone gives me a tip or a suggestion, I should write it down right away so I can keep it, look back at it, and actually think it through properly instead of just forgetting it.
Yes, that is a perfect use of the list. I love that. Advice from people around you, especially people who already know the area, who already understand the environment you're in, that is genuinely valuable information. Writing it down means you won't lose it. You can review it later when you have time to think clearly.
Exactly. And then I can look at it carefully and decide, okay, is this something I want to try? Does this apply to my situation? It gives me time to think instead of just reacting in the moment or forgetting everything.
That is so smart. You process it on your own time, in your own way. And you know what? That's actually a really important skill. Not just in a new life situation, but in general. Being able to receive information, hold on to it, and reflect on it thoughtfully. The paper list helps you do exactly that.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling really motivated now. Like, I want to go home and start my list tonight.
Do it. Don't wait. Tonight, get a piece of paper, sit down somewhere quiet, and just start writing. You'll be surprised how much better you feel after even just 10 or 15 minutes of doing that.
Okay, I will, I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Okay. Well, I think that was a really great conversation. There was a lot of really useful advice in there. So let's do a quick recap before we wrap up for our listeners, because I want to make sure everyone catches the key points.
Great idea. Okay, so the main thing we talked about today is the paper list. When you're feeling overwhelmed by everything you need to do in a new life, the first step is simple. Write it all down, on paper, by hand, not on your phone, on actual paper with a pen or pencil.
And once you have your list, you go through each item and write down possible ways to handle it. Then you sort things into easy ones and harder ones so you can see the picture more clearly and start with the manageable stuff first.
That's right. And don't be afraid to include personal things on your list, like health concerns. For things you don't understand, searching online is a good starting point. But for serious health issues, be careful with internet searches. They can cause unnecessary worry. The best approach is to see a doctor. And before that, reading a book on the topic can give you really solid background knowledge.
Go to a bookstore and browse, or check out your local public library if you have one. Books give you a more complete picture than internet searches, which can sometimes be too narrow or scattered.